Have you ever gotten a phone call like this? Where your aging mom or your dad calls you up and says, "Well, I might have done something that I shouldn't have." And I think to myself, that is never a good start to any conversation with your aging mom and dad. So my name's Pam. I am one of your nurse advocates with Your Nurse Advocates Consulting, and this is Tuesday Tips. We are live in our Facebook, speaking out on the care of your aging parents, where we can have some great discussions, and I share lots of tips and strategies to help manage the care for your aging parents or grandparents or any other aging loved ones. So today's Tuesday Tips is about protecting your aging loved one from senior scams. And we, again, are in the process of launching our Senior Care Summit that is going to take place March 1st through March 14th, 2024. We have started, registration is open, and we are very, very glad to have Mr. John Kockler, who is the owner of Adoni Networks, who is an expert on helping us protect our aging loved ones with cybersecurity awareness and scams. So he is going to be doing one of our presentations during our senior summit. So I encourage all of you, if you're interested in that, make sure that you get a ticket and be able to watch that video. So my mom got scammed twice. Once was, kind of the innocent, where it was one of those gutter things where she spent all this money. She didn't need these, and that was one thing. So my brother got very upset that she spent all that money. She let a stranger in her home to give her this proposal, and yeah, that was not good. Everybody gave her heck for that, and I tried to have a conversation with her and just say, Ma, that's okay. Let's move forward. It's what's done is done. But the second time was a little bit more serious. The second time, this same conversation. I might have done something that I don't think I should have, but it's done, and I'm not sure what to do. Well, she had someone call her. It was definitely a Medicare scam. She had someone call her, said they were from her Aurora clinic, which is the clinic that she goes to, where she lives in Wisconsin. They knew her name, they knew her address, and because they were calling from a phone number that she recognized as Aurora, they said they were calling to verify her Medicare information. And they seemed to have already enough. And so that made her feel comfortable to share her Medicare information and her date of birth over the phone. So the good thing is that she called me right away, and we were able to take care of that. We had to call the FTC. We had to get a hold of Medicare, but fortunately, we took care of it right away. We got her on the fraud list. Her identity has not been, we took care of it right away. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Second thing is I just turned 65 this last fall. I myself now, in the last 2 weeks, have gotten 2 scams on my cell phone. They call me. One was a man, one was a woman, both definitely foreign. The man was telling me that he was calling from Medicare and asked me if I got my new plastic card in the mail because Medicare was no longer providing paper Medicare cards, and that he wanted to verify my information with me so that I would be sure to get my plastic Medicare card in the mail. Well, I toyed with him a little bit. I wanted to know how much information he already had. Make a long story short, I said, I'm not sharing any information with you. This is a scam, and I hung up. Not a week later, I get a woman that calls me and said she was calling from Medicare. She wasn't nearly as sophisticated, nearly as smooth. She went right for the guts and said, yes, I'm calling to verify your Medicare information. Is this, Pam Dunwald? And I said, yes. And she gave me the address. But I wasn't in the mood. And I just said, you know what, this is a scam. And I hung up. So there's lots of things going on right now, and lots of scams. And so we're going to talk about briefly 5 tips that you could do to help your aging loved one try and avoid and to protect them. Again, I encourage you. John is going to be amazing. He's going to talk about passwords. He's going to talk about tools and software and easy things about storing passwords. He's going to talk about a lot of really great things. So encourage everybody to be a part of our senior summit. Again, 28 topics and 28 speakers on all things caring for our aging adults. So number one tip, educate your seniors about the common scams. Have a conversation with them. Talk to them about what's out there, what's happening, where they could expect to, get a phone call and please, the bottom line is if you just reiterate the fact that you never give out any information over the phone, no credit card information, no date of birth, no Medicare, no Social Security, you just never share that over the phone because anybody legitimate is not going to ask you for that over the phone. So just have a conversation with them. And if need be, my mother-in-law is getting very, very extremely forgetful. You can have a little script, a little thing right by the phone that said, if they're asking for this, 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 and this, hang up. Very simple. They can remind themselves. They don't have to worry about it. They look at the sheet and there you go. Boom. If they're asking you for any of those things, hang up. And so that would be the first thing. The second tip would be, installing some software, anti-malware. I mean, this is getting kind of sophisticated, but again, John Kockler from Adoni Networks is going to be presenting this topic at the Senior Care Summit, and he has a lot of programs and a lot of these things that can help. Number 3, advise your seniors to never give out personal information. We just talked about that. Like I said, if you need like a 4x6 index card or a 5x7 index card, something big, written big so they can see right out, the things that they would never give over the phone, their name, their date of birth, their Social Security, and their Medicare number. And so that they have that by the phone. Like we said, no legitimate organization is going to ask them for that information. Tip number 4, keep your passwords secure. Seniors, they should avoid, and easily recognize, again, John he has some great stories about passwords, but you don't want your grandchildren and their date of birth, or you don't want password 1234. Those are the worst kind of passwords you can have. And you should have passwords for all your accounts and not use the same one. Again, John's going to go into a lot of detail on that and give you some really good tips on passwords that are very difficult. He's going to share actually the best kind of passwords that are the most difficult to crack. So tip number 5 is stay involved in monitor activities. So staying involved and just having the open conversations. And this is what I'm going to say here. The last thing I want to briefly mention is I just want to share a word of caution when dealing with your aging parents or any other aging loved one. I thought about the first time when my mother fell prey to a scam. I mean, my brothers and sisters really berated her, and she felt really bad. She felt very childish, but the bottom line is it was done. And I, tried to have a conversation with her saying, Mom, it's okay. You made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. There's nothing we can do about it now, but moving forward. And so I tried to make her feel comfortable, because had she been afraid that we were going to yell and scream at her again and tell her how foolish that she was with this serious one where she gave out her Medicare number and her date of birth, I mean, that could have been a serious situation. And had she not been comfortable, I was the first one and the only one she called, because she felt that I wasn't going to yell at her. She was scared. And the last thing that she needed was someone to yell at her and make her feel bad because she made a big mistake. So she called me. I was very calm about it. She was very, very upset. She felt very bad. As soon as she hung up, she realized it's probably something that she should not have done. But again, we contacted the FTC. We contacted Medicare. They took care of it. They put her on a watch list, a fraud list. It's been several months now. She's not had any breaches or anything to do with her identity. So we were able to do the right things before any damage could be done. So the bottom line is the circle of life. I mean, our parents, it's difficult for them to lose their independence. They've raised us. They tried to teach us how to be good adults. They were the ones giving us advice and information, and now the roles are reversed. So the worst thing that we could do is to make them feel worse than they already do. So those are my 5 tips for Tuesday tips for helping protect your aging loved one from from senior scams. And we will see you next Tuesday for another Tuesday Tips. Thanks for joining us live tonight. We've got some people watching. So thank you for stopping by. And this will be recorded on our in our live forum, speaking out on the care of your aging parents. And we'll see you back here soon. Take care and have a great night.